Thanks for joining us. We did a couple of shows this weekend targeting top secret trading ideas. And I wanted to come on today because, as you'll see in the comments from our first show, we actually had one of our viewers test out a straddle to see how it might work. So that's our review today because it ended up being 200% plus on the return, and we thought you might want to get an update on how that's working. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy this show and would like better ideas on investing and trading, join us on our Patreon page to accomplish that. Finally, this broadcast is copyrighted. All rights are reserved. So I wanted to do a brief show today. What happened over the weekend is we introduced an idea that we call top secret Tesla trading. The idea behind this and why it's top secret is that, we are saying that we really didn't do a show, but we kind of did a show. So therefore it's top secret. And, we'd like to keep it that way. Please note, the goal here is to teach and have people make money. If you hate, investing, trading in this fashion, let's do that for another show because we're trying to get certain people up the learning curve and let them decide as adults whether or not they want to participate. So there is a concept I shared which is called a straddle. So as you know, the concept is to actually buy the put and the call at the same exact strike price. Let the stock run in one direction, sell that put or call, and then wait for it to exit to the other direction and then sell that other instrument. So what happened was that a member of our viewership, name listed below, actually did that very thing. And based on his decision to sell out this quickly, it was clear that he decided to do an in-week straddle, which is very risky because, it's typically a lot more risky than if you give yourself time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. What's also nice though is you can make decent money with a fairly small amount of cash put in. So what I wanted to do today is kind of review details on that trade and kind of how it went. So on Monday morning, what he did was he put a straddle in at $775. So that's $775. What then happened, as you know, is the stock swung up to $796. And as we discussed, the stock started falling again, and he actually ended up selling the call side of that straddle for $794. Now, why did he sell out? Because the money was there to be had on the first day. Stock price was actually falling. There was already profit on the call side of this, even though the put side had fallen in value. Profit there being the gap between 775 and 794. Call that 20 points, ish, depending on the exact number. So what then happened was that he waited, and then this morning, Tuesday, he was able to sell out for $767. Similar idea, stock price dropped. There was a decent profit now, or a profit on the puts, and stock price started rolling back up on him again. So it was a good time to actually exit. So basically, both sides of the trade ended up being profitable. And this really, first of all, brings up an interesting question, which is, it might be worth backtesting or taking time to sort of see, well, wait a second, over a 1 to 2 day period, how frequently do you have Tesla going up 20 points, then retracing those 20 points, and then dropping another 10 or 15 points? And as we both know, that's a very common phenomenon when we deal with Tesla. And so, congratulations on the trade working well. I'm a little bit surprised because my recommendation was, why not try a paper trade where you're just testing out the general concept to see if it worked. And I'm impressed because all the little details we covered on how to manage that trade were executed and executed well. What I also like about that trade is that Tesla has a certain amount of movement from Monday to Friday on a regular basis. So I actually think this is a really smart trade as well, because he caught almost all the movement up and he caught a portion or most of the movement down here. And that's a lot of nice return. And so it is risky, but it's a lot riskier if you're trying this at the end of the week versus at the beginning when you have some time value to work with for this to work out. I'm going to pepper in with other questions that you're welcome to fire at me, and I could ask him further questions on what his thought process was. One question that would come to mind is, why did he choose the 775s? Because stock closed at 774. It was starting to rise pre-market, and that's when he went ahead and executed the trade to get in at that number. Next question would be, did he do more than one? That I do not know. I just know he indicated that he did the straddle and that it was effective. Should you try live fire? I would recommend trying to do a few non-live fire experiments with the straddle to see, like, what do you think about it? Do you think it actually works on a test basis before you actually move it into a live situation? What do I expect to happen going forward for Tesla? Well, the issue is, in the old days, Tesla used to be a 50-point-a-day stock. Now we've switched into this 20-point-ish-a-day situation, and that delta, or that change in price, is a huge opportunity for most people. I actually thought it was also interesting today that if you look at that 15 or 20-point situation for Tesla, the last I checked, this stock was down 15 points. It may have been down 20, but it fits a pattern of movement, and that movement is what a whole bunch of people are desperate to find in any stock, because they can squeeze a profit out of a certain number of points moving. But if your stock isn't moving at all, then it's really hard to make money when you're trading options, in my mind. I mean, there are things that allow you to trade, easy options trading is buy a put, wait for that direction, or buy a call. Harder options trading is different instruments. One other, I like to review instruments that I've traded and traded successfully. There's one other thing I'd like to have you guys look up, and it's called an iron condor. And I've used it successfully a few times, but I think that the way Tesla moves, it might be another sort of options trading technique to consider working with, because I think it enables you, it kind of limits your returns, but it also kind of limits the risk a bit. So that's another one I think that you might want to read up on, because I actually think it's, I've worked with it successfully, and so therefore I would recommend it. Also very cool because you can actually install an IR condor where you're actually buying a put and call at the same time for very little money, as little as 100, 150 bucks. And so I was like, wow, when I was taught about it by a broker I was talking to, I think at Ameritrade, I was introduced to this, and I would say that, if you're really low on cash or low on the amount you want to put in, that might be another way to trade that could be very lucrative, and you could do so on a lot less money. So I want to thank you for joining us for the update on what's going on, or what happened with the straddle on Tesla in the first, let's say, 24 hours into the trading day of Monday. I think there's a lot of up and downs going on right now because there's a lot of unknowns related to what's going to happen with the government shutdowns, et cetera. So I think it creates a lot of fear and panic that generates opportunities to make money on trading. So I wanted to note we do have a few SpaceX shares if there's interest. Please also note that we'd like to have you like and subscribe. This is a copyrighted broadcast. And next we wanted to move into our health tips. Today, I just want to remind you of our trying to get out in nature and embracing exposure to nature and enjoying the impact on your body and your health in the process. Also wanted to encourage you to remember to try to keep fried foods to once a week, limiting the impact of your body reacting to it negatively and having a negative impact. The rest of our health tips are listed below. The 25 leg lifts, I think, are another one that I would focus on. So, anyway, this is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, German, au revoir, French, lahithroat, Hebrew, Hoda Hafez, Farsi, Zdravstvuyte, Russian, Ni hao ma, Chinese, Konbanwa, Japanese, Heido, Swedish. And in Jamaica, we say, enough respect, walk good. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.